Why is it always such a rush? Why is it a rush? Everyone, good afternoon and welcome to another Monday's question and answer. Can you hear me? It'd be nice if you could just give us a thumbs up to say that you can hear me. And I've got Louise on a different camera, so I'm going to have to try and see if I got her. I think that's you. Say hello, Louise.
Hello, Louise.
Oh, wrong camera. Then where are you? Oh, you're on 4. There we go. You're there. There we go. Say hello.
Hello.
Can people hear Louise? Louise, talk to me.
Talking?
And also, you should be able to hear Louise now out of both speakers as opposed to just the left-hand one. At least I got something done this week.
Wow. Wow.
Just needs a new lead plugged into that camera bar there. So you were on that camera, but you're not on that. You're okay. You're right there. Is it a dirty mug?
I don't know.
What do you mean? Where? What are we looking at?
Doesn't matter.
It's fine. But a dirt never hurt anyone, Louise. No, you're not going to drink it.
No.
Why?
Because there's an oil slick on top of it.
An oil slick. Come on. That's fine. It's fine. Oh, that's sweet. I put too many sweeteners in there. Oh, it's fine. You're right. It's more flavour. You're right there, Chris. Good afternoon. Oh, goodness me. Oh, we just got nothing done today, Louise. Oh. Well, I got 2 things done. There was a film on At the Bench that only cut out halfway through, and I think I've just managed to get that done.
I did some purchasing.
You did some purchasing. We had an agent round, a rep round today, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We were choosing some stock when we reopen in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks today, we should be open.
What the?
It's too sweet, isn't it? I kept going with the sweeteners because nothing was coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like sweetness. No, I eat my coffee anyway. Right, I got plenty of drink on my bench.
That's enough coffee banter.
It's enough coffee banter. So we've done a bit of purchasing today from when the shop opens up. Absolutely fabulous. I sorted out my film for At the Bench that actually cut out halfway through, so that's all been sorted. Tell you what, before we go any further, this is a really interesting piece of equipment. All right, this is a neutral grey card. Really, really boring. If you're taking photographs, there's one app I recommend if you're taking photographs with any sort of phone, like an iPhone or whatever. It's Camera Plus 2. The app is Camera, then a Plus, then a 2. Absolutely brilliant. In here we got all these lights. If I use the normal camera that is associated with the iPhone, the color contrast is completely out because these lights are putting out a different light to what this is. Yeah, it's not a daylight, I don't know what it is. But if you use Camera Plus 2 and use this little neutral card and you adjust the white balance to this, every shot is absolutely perfect. So this is a really important card to have. It is a simple 18% grey. You point the camera at this part here and then every single shot is going to be exactly the same. But if you want to make sure you get pure, I don't know why I'm saying this before I even go any further. If you want to make sure you get a pure white background, overexposed by about half a stop to about a full stop, because cameras cannot see white. Cameras can only see 18% grey. They will never see white, so you have to overexpose. Anyway, that's beside the point. I had that on my desk. Just thought that may be quite interesting, but obviously not. Louise is going, oh.
No, I zoned out, sorry.
Really? You just wonder what the heck I'm on about. So how is everybody? Really do apologise. It's 4 o'clock here in the UK. It is 3 o'clock everywhere else. So I do apologise if you're watching this on replay because you've just realised that you've missed us.
Someone was interested.
No!
Sandra, can you show a quick adjustment of the camera using that card?
Of course I can.
Yeah.
Oh, someone else.
Oh, you've done it now, Sandra.
Someone else as nerdy as me. So we get the overhead camera on this, okay? So, oh, there's a lovely picture of Louise on my phone there, isn't it? Oh, bless her. There we go. Okay. So the app that I use is called Camera Plus 2. And I will show it. There you are. Camera Plus 2. Can you note the card
show? Can you note the card show?
Yeah, you can buy them on Amazon. I don't know the link exact. So the idea is this is like the image that we get. Okay, so if I put that in front, Okay, you can just see that. Okay, so down here you've got a white balance. As you can see, the image is a funny colour because that is black, whereas this is showing this. Press white balance. You can have auto, grey, shade, cloudy, flash. So click on grey card. Get your grey card in front, like that. You put it in the screen like this. You press OK. There we go. And now it's black. And this is then the correct true colour of everything that you want to take a photograph of. And obviously there's the Coke can, as you can see, and it is in the correct colour. The amazing thing with this little app is that you can put it on auto aperture, you can put it on auto exposure, so you can underexpose, you can overexpose, you can go you can well overexpose it like that or underexpose it. You can do focus, you can do so much with it. It's a brilliant app, but you've got to pay for it. It's about £6.99. But it is...
It's worth the money though, but now you show me, I'm interested.
Really? Okay, whatever. So
I am.
So these little cards, this is called a Y-bal.
Penny's asking, can you use all the usual iPhone camera features in Camera Plus 2?
Camera Plus 2 has everything you possibly want and more. Camera Plus 2 is far better than the iPhone. Camera Plus 2 has like a slow shutter speed. So we were out walking on my birthday actually last week. Or the week before. And we went to a lovely waterfall. And as long as you have the camera nice and still, press the button. It's a slow shutter speed, makes all the water nice and blurry. It does instant bursts, so it'll take like quick shots. It's an absolutely brilliant app. I've had it on my phone forever and it is absolutely brilliant. The best thing about it is focus. You can focus it and you can pull the focus, you can bang with the focus, you can zoom in and the background can be really, really out of focus, but you can alter the focus to exactly where you want it. The exposure, you can expose it on different parts. So for instance, if you want to expose it on the whiteboard, you just point it at the whiteboard, it'll expose for the whiteboard. Do you know what I mean? It's an absolutely brilliant app. These little grey cards, you can buy this, not this particular one here, this is called a Y-bal. But these cards you can buy really cheap for about £6 or £7 on Amazon. It's an 18% grey card. Camera never sees white, you always have to overexpose. And that's on a digital SLR, also on your iPhone as well. Really good. There we go. Order the card on Amazon, card is supposed to arrive midweek. Extra Sandra, you were the one person who I got through to on the forum. Well done. That's a question on the forum saying my pictures are always never white. Well, overexpose, get that, and the image will be perfect. All right, so that's about it for today. Thank you for watching. Oh no. Right, yeah, here we go. Anything you want to say, Louise, before we start off?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Gemma going well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot more work than I initially anticipated.
It's a lot more work that I told you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot more work.
I didn't realise.
It's good, it is good.
I do apologise for that. Just think how amazing you're going to be when you finish it. But you're amazing now. you're amazing now. Do you think how even more amazing you could possibly be when you've finished?
Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah, it is good.
Okay, so put my phone away. What are we doing today?
General, isn't it?
Just general Q&A today. Good. Yeah, please explain the use of the Chenier vise. If we get through to it, I will do. How much is the card? Romy, the card is on Amazon. It's an 18% card, about £6, £7. Do you know of a non-borax Flux? Yeah, or Flux. You can get magic boric as well. You can also make a Prips Flux, but I think borax is in Prips Flux. Anyway, Louise is just scrolling all the way back to the beginning. I do apologise, I've been told off. Yes, Louise. It's the 29th of March. Where does the year go? We haven't even opened up since before Christmas.
That's insane, isn't it?
That is mad. That is mad. The shop has been shut since the 20th of December. And it's spring, the mornings are getting lighter, the clocks are gone forward, it's British summertime we're on now. And tomorrow is supposed to be glorious sunshine. So I think we should knock off a bit early tomorrow.
Oh, thanks.
I'm like a good boss. Do we have any click and collects tomorrow afternoon? Get on the website, cancel them. 2 o'clock onwards is ours. We're having a half day. Right then.
Right, you've said that now in front of 99 people. So there's no going back on it now.
There's no going back. Right then. It's the 29th of March. It is time for Monday's question and answer. Thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon. I do apologise, we didn't get any of the announcements out to Facebook, so I do apologise for that. It has been one heck of a busy day. So let us have the first question, Louise. May we have our first question, my dear?
Yes. Tanya is asking, when making a ring, I seem to lose its shape, and when I replace it on the ring mandrel, the size just goes bigger. What am I doing wrong, please?
I don't think you were doing anything wrong. You know, when you put the ring back on the mandrel, what do you use for tapping it round, and how do you tap it round? If you use the rawhide mallet, great, people like the rawhide mallet. A lot of people don't and have very strong views on a rawhide mallet. No naming, but I just say bad craftsman blames his tools, Louise. He wasn't using it right.
I didn't say it.
No,
Why are you saying that to me?
He wasn't using the...
Okay, we're not here to start
So
this.
some people will use like a dead weight, some people will use a rawhide mallet, okay? I'm not getting frothy, honestly. So the idea is when you tap a ring round, you have your mandrel. If you come along and you tap down in this direction, you're effectively stretching the ring. So when you're holding the mandrel, whether you hold it in a vise by the side or whether you're holding it like this in your chest, like this here, okay, and you're tapping, if you tap and you're pulling the ring down the mandrel, you're invariably stretching it. So that is going to be why your rings perhaps are getting a little bit bigger. What you should be doing is trying to hit the mandrel at 90 degrees to the hammer face. So you're hitting it in this way, so you're just basically forming the metal around the mandrel. One little tip, if you're finding that the rings are always starting to become a little bit too big, make them a little bit smaller, and that's what a lot of people will do. In the UK here, our size is not a huge amount, because in the US it's about twice or three times our British sizes. So in this country, I would say make a ring about half a size smaller than what you actually need, because then when you come to tap the ring round, you don't just have to tap the ring round. As you're tapping it and you're hitting it in this direction, hitting it down the mandrel, you're making it slightly bigger, but you're also forcing it into a round shape and the ring will stretch. If you're in the US, make it about a quarter of a size too small, just to allow that little bit of making large, that little bit of enlarging, and that is going to be your best bet. Oh dear, froth. Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, that should answer your. Oh, that should answer your question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do apologise. Talk about frothy. Yeah. Let me have our next question, please.
You should give me that tin of pop.
Next question, please.
Do apologise. Okay, H. Van Straten is asking, in flush setting, can one improvise and use a bud burr to cut the final seat for a CZ? Why don't my stones click in? Hatho nylon brushes, what is the difference between the black and white?
So,
it's a bit of a two-parter.
I have my chemical. There we go. Don't want you belching.
Don't want you belching
either.
again.
Lady. So the idea is if you have a ball burr, you can have a ball burr. I don't find ball burrs are very good at flush setting because I'll take that off, okay? So here is your metal, okay? Here is your ball burr with all the, yeah. So you come along and you cut a nice semicircle, okay? The problem that you've got for a start, obviously that isn't going to be big enough for the stone, so you're going to have to drill through the middle first, then use the ball burr. But my problem with the ball burr is the teeth are very aggressive. This is ideal if you're doing things like pave, if you're having to do another one by the side and set the stones in, and then you cut the metal and you force the metal over into with little claws, that sort of thing. Brilliant at doing that. My only problem is that the shape of obviously the burr is rounded, okay? So then you have to push the burr further into the actual hole. Otherwise, it is only going to be that shape. And your stone, if you do try and fit your stone in place here, there is too much of a gap here between the edge and the stone itself. Okay, so the burr has to be exactly the right size for the stone, or a little bit less. You won't get a stone to click into place by using a ball burr. You won't, because the stone won't click. It'll just simply just drop and settle into place. Now my argument is, if you have a ball burr, you cannot guarantee these sides here are going to be nice and straight, and you need them straight and parallel and tight on the stone for the stone to be set. Because if that stone moves side to side, you're going to have to try and get the metal to go over that gap first before it goes over onto the stone. So I would never ever use a ball burr as the final burr when you're setting. I would use a ball burr, it's quite aggressive, the teeth are open, to make those initial cuts. Then I would swap over to a straight sided setting burr, because now these sides are nice and straight. You should be able to try and get these in the right size for your stone. And when you come along, then you've done the ball burr, you come along with this, it's slightly bigger, it's going to cut nice straight sides for your stone. The stone is going to fit in there really, really nice. To be able to get that click, if you want the stone to click into place, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend this if you're using things like a soft stone, like topaz for argument's sake, like a quartz, it's too risky. What you would do is grab yourself another burr, and that would be perhaps a 90-degree setting burr that is that shape. Okay, there's your teeth coming down this way. And what you would do, you would make your hole about 1/10 of a millimetre smaller than the diameter of the stone. Then you use this burr and you just undercut the wall by a little bit, okay? By using the burr comes in and you just push the burr out and just spin the burr around to cut that line all the way around the inside. Then when your stone goes into place, you've got a bit of resistance and the stone will click down into that little bit of an undercut. It is not a necessity. What is important is for the stone to go in the hole and not move from side to side. So I would not necessarily use a ball burr as your final burr. Straight sided setting burr is going to be the burr to go with. It's a long answer, wasn't it?
Have we thought any more about, we were going to do a burr special, weren't we?
We were. I haven't done anything just yet, but we do have two companies. We do have Birch burrs, and we do also have Comet as well. I'm going to approach both of them, and the first company to get back to me giving me burrs to do some demos will be the company that I will say.
Okay, well I have written that down,
Comet,
so you can do that this week.
Thank you, Louise. You've written that. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, Penny, we haven't forgotten about your topaz either. Well, we had forgotten, but the week ran away with us. But we haven't forgotten. We just didn't have a chance to. Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
yeah, it's definitely, we haven't forgotten about it.
Get on with that. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Burr extravaganza. Yeah. Just basically just trying to get some information from the couple of companies. So I've had some burrs given me by a company called Comet. Komet. I think they're German. I think Birch are German as well. I need to get in contact with both of them and just see who can get me some burrs.
Comet do dental burrs as well.
They do they? And Birch do as well.
Don't know about Birch.
No?
No. Comet definitely.
Do they? Okay. Well, there we go. Okay then, Louise, may we have our next question, please?
Yes.
Oh, hang on, one camera, hang on. There we go.
Ines is asking, could you please explain the use of a chenille vise?
Oh, go through that one. A chenille vise. Okay. Do you mean this? Is this what you mean by a chenille vise? Like this one here. Let me just widen that a bit. There we go. Like that one there. Or do you mean, I got so many drawers, or do you mean this? So they both do pretty much the same sort of thing. You can mark out your tubing, you can cut the tubing. Which one do you mean? This type here? This is the usual, this one. That one? Catching up with me now. Yep, the square.
No, the square, yeah.
This one. So this one,
I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Okay. Which one? Okay. So they're both called chenier vices. This little guy here is pretty good because the chenier fits into the slot. This comes over, holds the chenier in place. You can then saw through these gaps. So this is a very good one as well. And you can use this to measure your different lengths of tubing and you can get all the tube. But anyway, that isn't the one you want to know about. You want to know about this little guy here. You can pick up these, you can buy some really expensive ones. This one was from a company in the UK, from Cousins UK, quite cheap. If you do go really, really cheap, the quality isn't that accurate. And usually when you have these sort of vices, you rely upon the accuracy of the machining involved. So, what was the question? How do you use it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Romy's asking, what does the other one do as well? As you've got it out.
This one will purely, you put wire or tubing in, camera number 3, please. So you put you can alter the stop, okay, so you can put it at whatever length you want, and then you measure, this is the length then of the metal that will be cut off. You don't have to have this can come off in place. Put that into place like that. This comes over, hold it, you get your saw blade, you put the saw blade down the very fine groove here, and it will cut equal lengths of tubing. It cuts it nice and square, never square enough for me because I always end up having to refile it afterwards. But it is very good. It's a very quick way of cutting lengths. These little vices here are very, very good because they all come in little separate sections. You've got this little section here that will cut at 30 degrees and also 60 degrees. This little section here allows you to cut at 45 degrees, and this little section down here allows you to cut at 90 degrees because they are all relative to the face here. So the idea would be, let me just get a little bit of metal. If I got a little bit of metal here, there you go, got a little bit of round metal here that we can just sort of have a look at. So if I want to make this a nice 90 degrees on the end, I can use this little device. Let me just zoom in on this little device here. There we go. So this has some little grooves here. It's also got this little section here. This locates all the tiers on top of each other. So then I would put that through and just try and make this a little bit smaller. So square wire, round wire, that will go through that gap there. I'm trying to do this way. There we go, that's better. So that will go through, that will tighten up like that. So now we can get this just poking through like that. So we can come along down with our file and get a file over the top of that surface, and we can make sure that that face that we've just, on that wire, we've just put through, we can ensure that that face now is going to be at 90 degrees to the surface. Okay, nice and square. Okay, so that wrong one, there we go, they come off there. These little devices on the sides here allows you to put like a little haven't got it on me, a little almost like an Allen key that you can cut off repeated lengths the same. But anyway, go on to the next one. This next one up here now is going to enable you to put the wire in at an angle. Let's put it through this way. So now we can cut and file at this angle. All right, so that'll be like 45 degrees. And then the next one along, depending on which angle you put this through, so we can get a nice 60 degrees upon this, and you can make sure now that all the angles. This is primarily for a filing. You could, I suppose, use it for cutting. You could put that like that there. Whey, we got some money, have we? Do we have some money, Louise?
I can see, no.
We have a flash. Whee! Thank you very much. Has anybody donated any money? Oh, it must have just gone off on its own. Let me turn it off. Thank you. Okay, so it's just good enough. Random. So we can go with this, and yeah, you can have your bit of metal sticking out, and you can get your saw blade, and you can saw. But you are limited to the, to the amount of movement side to side. So that is what this little device does. just enables you to basically angle the metal, angle at 45. If you want to do a nice corner at 45 degrees, you can get 45 degrees angle with that. What I see a lot of people do, and I think is a complete waste of time, if you ask me, and I'm being a bit outspoken here, when they're making ring shanks. Me outspoken?
Oh, it's never happened before.
Never happened before. What people will do is get, oh, I've got my ring shank, yep, and I've cut my ring shank and I've cut at either end, and then they'll put it in here and they'll file both ends completely flat and bring the ends round to solder into place. I don't believe in doing all that sort of shenanigans. I think it's a complete waste of time. If you are going to make a ring, you know the way I like to make up my rings, I would never use one of these. But if you want to get nice 90 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, or 30 degrees, these are ideal. But they're more of a filing block as opposed to this type of device here, which is more of a cutting device. There we go. I hope that helps. Any more questions on those sort of things, just let me know. I'll happily buy the tools to show you. May we have a next question then, please, Louise?
Yes, Julia is wanting to make a collet with balled wire prongs. I've tried balling the wire first before attaching the prongs. Also tried adding long prongs and balling afterwards. Going mad, it's one off, one on. How would you go about it? Because
what's happening is if you solder the claws on and you're melting it, the melting is obviously at a higher temperature than the soldering, so the claws are dropping off. So that would be the problem you're having there. What I would do is ball the wire first of all, and then I would use that then to put and solder onto your setting. I would do it that way. I suppose the problem you got then is that it's nice to be able to ball them up afterwards, but you can't do that unless you can protect your solder joints or use an extremely hot flame. These little flames here, it's going off again, Louise. Why is it going off? Yay! It's working again. Giorgio, thank you very much indeed. Yay, it's working. Here, go to work today. I'm really happy with that. Do you know what we'll have to do, Louise? We're going to have to think about the next 12 hours now, don't you?
No. Well, actually, that's funny you mentioned that. I've already been thinking about it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, tell me afterwards. Thank you, Giorgio. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, so ball the wire first, then solder them onto the setting, unless you can got something like a Smith's little torch where you can really get that heat really, really hot on the end of the claw before the solder melts. But definitely do it before. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Oh, I've just jumped to the bottom, sorry.
Yes, Louise? Next question?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
It just jumped to the bottom. We're just chatting about all the glitters on the chat here.
No release date yet. Someone says middle of April, but we don't know yet.
Well, when I was speaking to Carol the other day, she said they pushed it back, didn't they?
Did they?
So I don't think they even know.
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, Alex is asking, how do you use the D-shaped grooves on a rolling mill? I always get flashing on the sides when I try and make it smaller.
Okay, so what you're doing, your metal is too wide for the D sections. So what you've got to think about is that when you roll down metal and you have the D sections, your metal is too wide. So I know what you're doing. You've got, okay, so those are your rollers, yeah. So those are your rollers, and you've got, say, 4 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters. What you want to do, you want to make 4 millimeter D-section wire. You don't have and start off with 4 millimeter wire. It sounds like the problem that you're having, because you've got 4 millimeter wire and it's square. Okay, 4 mil, 4 mil. As soon as you put it into here, you're squashing it, and if you squash it downwards, where's the metal going to go? The metal's going to go outwards, so the metal is going to end up wider than 4 millimeters. So what you want to do is start off with some thinner metal. You want to allow for that squashing out. Because what is happening, you've got your square section here, you're putting it in here, you're squashing it, and what's happening is this. Because the rolling mill is squashing it downwards, and as it squashes downwards, it squashes it outwards, and this is the flashing that you're getting. So in order to stop that happening, start off with some square wire, if you want to use square wire, and there is a formula. And if you're a member of At the Bench, I will post it on the forum because it's quite an interesting formula to know. If you reduce a piece of metal downwards, how wide it'll actually go widthwise. So it's a very one. So I will start off with roughly around about a 3.6 by 3.6, put it into the 4 mil, and obviously when it goes into the 4 mil, it's not going to come to the edges, is it? It's going to be that sort of shape. And here's the roller down here. Then as you put it through, it's going to squash this bit wider, and hopefully, and usually, it'll end up around about a 4mm in width. If you come down to a 3mm, obviously the squashing effect isn't going to be as much as what it would be if it was a 4mm. So perhaps do it about 3.5mm. 2mm, and use 2mm square wire. It's going to have the flashing. I would come down a little bit, so perhaps 1.8, something like that, because that is the effect that's going to happen. But there is a formula. I will post it a little bit later on when I can go through my reference books and do that for you. But that is the reason why never start off with the right width for the D grooves. Always start off that little bit smaller, and as it squashes, it will fill it up. Nice. Yeah, that's about it. And again, obviously, if you've got, yeah. But if you're using, what argument's sake, and I'm using rectangular wire, okay, and you want to reduce that. If you started off with 3.6, because it's half the height already, it's not going to squash out as much. So perhaps I would start off with 3.8mm because you've only got to squash this down a little bit, and the deformation is just this amount, whereas if you had this, the deformation is all that. So it doesn't deform as much, so I wouldn't allow as much for that metal to spread, because it won't. You've only just got to take it down that much. There we go. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Lee is soldering 2 pieces of round wire together, 3mm, end on side, i.e. T-shape. What's the best way to do this?
So you're doing that, yeah? The best way to do that is this metal here that comes into the T, you get the end of it and you just file that profile that matches the same profile as that. So then it'll go together. Excuse me, Louise. Right then, let's have a look. So so your metal is that shape. This comes along like this, and the metal is that shape, like that. Yep, and this then fits around here, so you got that sort of look when it comes around like that. And that is going to get you... Oh, Steve, it's not going round, buddy. Oh, no. Oh, come on. Let's get going. There we go, Steve. How about that? There we go. Thank you, Steve. So that would be the best way. You file that section, so then you get a total amount of surface area onto that. So 3mm round burr or 3mm round needle file that into the end, and it'll just slot nicely around that, and you have a fantastic joint. What happened then, Louise? It didn't come on.
It's just doing its own thing now, isn't it?
It is now, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Really do appreciate it. Thank you. Laser welder training. Nice.
Cool.
Okay, so Louise, may we have a next question then, please?
Yes, Tracy is saying, I am the newest newbie to making jewellery. When it comes to flux, is there different levels of flux? The one I bought says low heat. Will that work for soldering a ring?
Low heat. I think I would personally get a flux just for jewellery, for hard soldering. There are lots of different fluxes out there that you can use for a very low heat, like a lead or soft soldering, which is not the flux that you want. You want a flux that enables you to use it for hard soldering. Those sort of fluxes really don't have names like a high, what was the word that they just used to call about her flux just then? Low heat.
Low heat.
Yeah. There isn't anything like that when it comes to jewellery. I always use a borax cone or a borax cake or whatever is out there now. Borax, you can use things like All Flux, you can use Prips Flux, you can use Magic Boric, you can use, what's the spray? Fire Scoff. You can use Fire Scoff as a flux as well. But those are the particular fluxes you should be using for hard soldering, not a low heat, because there should not be anything called a low heat flux when it comes to jewellery soldering. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is. So discard that flux, go to a jewellery tool suppliers and get some proper All Flux. That's AUFLUX, or borax cone and a borax dish, always my favourite. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Michael is asking, did you remember your book today, Andrew?
I did. It's downstairs.
Okay,
It's
well,
downstairs,
we shall look
but
forward to that.
I have to go down and get it. I have to get Louise to ask a really, really long question so I can go down and get it. But it is downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rebecca is asking, what do I use and how to clean up a rub over setting for a diamond?
Well, to clean?
To clean up a rub over, yeah. What do I use and how to?
Okay, you can simply use something like a buff stick, quite a nice fine buff stick to go around it to smooth out if there's any file marks around it. A lot of people use things like a little pumice wheel, which will look something very similar to this, which is a wheel. Then you would just put that in your flex shaft and you'd spin that around the edge to get a nice fine surface. The trick is, it's that edge that is coming over onto the stone. The trick really is that when you've cut your seat, for argument's sake, in some tubing, I would always make sure that this top edge here is nice and smooth, nice and straight, nicely polished. So when the stone goes into place here, and perhaps you have got some bezel closing punches, you just simply tap it down. Or if you've got a burnisher, you can just burnish this edge. And if this edge is even before you start, once you've burnished the metal over, here's my burnisher here, burnishing this edge over, the edge should be nice and even. But things happen and perhaps it isn't nice and smooth and so forth. So what I would do then is grab myself a nice graver, and that would be a nice simple graver that is like a flat edge like that. That makes sense. Then here then is your handle that goes around this way. Here's your handle coming off. Let me see how close I can get on this little guy here. Here we go, here's the guy. This is the sort of guy that I would use. There's the angle, here's the cutting face that is down here, and you would use that to just go around that inner edge to get a nice, shiny, smooth inside to the bezel itself. So that would go right there. You would get the edge of the graver right along that inside edge and just pass it around the edge, and providing the belly part under here is nice and smooth and polished, when you push that graver around the inside of that bezel, you'll impart a nice high shine. Do it in little bits, a stage at a time. Use some magnification, a microscope or something like this, an optivisor to get in, and you can remove the metal if it happens to be slightly irregular and get a nice shiny inside edge. So when you're looking on the edge here, this then edge that comes in from the bezel here, you can cut nice and shiny here to make sure then that reflects. So that then is the face here that you are cutting when it comes to that edge there. That'd be the best way to do that. And then go over very, very lightly then with a very soft rouge mop, if need be. A nice little soft little guy like, oop, there he is there. Nice little soft little mop like that, just to make sure you get a nice finish on it with a bit of rouge. That should be fine. The outside edge here you can polish up with something like a pumice wheel and then like a little calico brush to get the outside polish, but it's this little face here that needs to be nice and shiny. But with the graver, you should cut a nice edge to it. May we have our next question, please, do?
Yeah. I'm just going to skip forward to Kristen's question because I like a safety question. She's saying, I normally wear safety glasses while working, but when using the torch for longer periods, I think some shades would probably be prudent. Welding grade would be overkill. What do you use?
I don't tend to use anything on my eyes. What you looking at me like that for? Do that again? Did I look for again?
I can't do it again. No, but this is why it's an important question, isn't it?
I know somebody who used to wear sunglasses, ordinary sunglasses, when they were soldering because they felt the flame was too bright on their eyes.
Yeah, and I think it is. And I suppose if you're looking at it in the same spot all the time regularly,
I've never found I had a problem.
Your eyesight's terrible. Mind you, that's just probably...
That's just old age, yeah, that's old age. When I got to...
You need a longer arm. Look at your phone, it's just like...
When I got to 40, my eyes did start to deteriorate.
Yeah, I don't think that's to do with...
Close up, yes, they're not good. But distance, you can't even see the things I can see at a distance. Come on, you're telling me that my eyesight's bad.
But we should be looking after our eyes more.
We should be. I don't know of any. I've got platinum welding specs down there, which you obviously definitely have to have for doing welding platinum because it will burn your eyes. It'll when you're looking at it, not physically, but it will kill your eyes.
Retinas, yeah.
Yeah, burn your retinas. So that's something that you really do need to look at. I feel that these sort of torches here, the flame is not bright. So I don't feel that I have a problem with these flames at all. The Smith's little torches, the flames are very small, but then again, you don't really have it really bright either. If you find you have if you have a very bright flame, sometimes you've got too much oxygen going into it that's causing the flame to be a little bit too bright and too blue. I'd say you're using too much oxygen if that was the case. But these sort of torches, the Sievert torches, should be fine, yeah.
But in terms of eye protection?
In terms of eye protection, I would not like to suggest anything.
I'm not suggesting this because I don't know. But
no.
I know in dentistry for UV light we used to have like orange glasses. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, might be worth doing some research into that. I'll try and find out. Because that might be like a filtering. I don't know. It's not a UV light though, is it? So it's, but then...
I really don't know. I wouldn't like to say just wear sunglasses in case it's wrong. I think you need to do some bit of research with this yourself and just look at things on the internet. I haven't heard of anybody needing to have glasses using a normal torch. You may need to have some protection if your eyes are sensitive. I totally agree with you. Perhaps if the surroundings around you are quite dark, then your eyes have perhaps a few problems going from dark to light. Perhaps,
Susan, sorry to interrupt you, has suggested a UV absorption glass for soldering.
If it is the UV light that's affecting you.
Yeah. Louise said I would consider asking an eye doctor for what you need. Definitely, it's a really good idea. Actually, I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah. Opticians, or that's really good. Claudia, I've heard of Philips safety glasses being recommended for soldering.
Yeah, okay, good.
What are torch glasses, different from normal eye protection? Yeah, so...
I know that when...
Official prescription safety glasses, when I'm
I know that Ray Skeen, who's a glass... not glass blower, but he does glass and melts glass. He does have purple.
Yeah.
And they do look really trendy. But obviously
torch glasses are green, apparently.
But he uses those, and they obviously cut down the light, and perhaps working in front of a flame all day long, you should protect your eyes. Yeah,
definitely.
Perhaps.
But even that torch out there, and it's only a little pen torch, isn't it? But after that, the UV one, I feel a bit blinky. Do you know when you just think, and that can't be good, can it?
No, it can't be good. So yeah, perhaps as it's not Susan said, who someone said, go to an optician's,
Yeah,
go
definitely.
to an eye doctor, definitely, and find out.
Absolutely, yeah. There's clear reading glasses with UV protection.
Is it the
yeah.
ultraviolet that is the problem? Because if it isn't that and it's another ray, I don't know. Best
Perhaps
look
it's
at.
just the combination of the brightness. Obviously, UV light's not good for your eyes or your skin or anything, but yeah.
Perhaps have a look. Absolutely.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, double check. Yeah, absolutely. So I can't give you a definite answer, but we've got plenty of...
There's some quite good ideas there for...
Yeah, as
you
Steve
know,
says,
you
47...
find out for yourself anyway, really, don't you?
Yes.
You hate it when I nag.
Steve says, 47 years, I've never needed protection for silver gold soldering. No, it could just well be the protection on your eyes. Some people's eyes are more sensitive than others.
But then when you started this all those years ago...
Yes.
Nobody really thought about this sort of thing, did they?
I don't know. Did they?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about the profession I spent most of my working life in, 20 years. The things that we worry about now didn't even factor in.
Yeah, true.
So,
true. Yes. We don't know, do we?
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely worth researching, looking into and thinking about, I would say, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, perhaps we should look into it as well.
Yeah.
Make
I agree. I have already.
Oh, well done.
Mrs. Efficient today. Can't fault me.
All right then. May we have a next question then, please, Louise?
Okay. Debbie is saying, do you prefer to use white flux paste or spray flux?
Okay, so spray flux is really good. My only concern with spray flux is that it just dries up in the nozzle and you just spend half the time trying to unclear and moisten the nozzle to get the spray flux back out. Fire scoff I have used. Fire scoff I absolutely love, but is very, very expensive for what it is. I did make up some Prips flux and put that in a little spray, and that is absolutely brilliant until it starts to dry up, and it dries up in the tube, in the nozzle. You've got to soak it in water, and I haven't got time for that. So I would always come along. Again, I keep going back to my little borax comb, nothing personal, and the borax dish as well, and that would be my go-to every single time. It's dry now, you put a bit of water into it, you swish it around like that, okay, and a little bit of flux there, and I'm ready to go. Now that for me is really, really quick. There's a little bit of flux in the bottom of this, as you can see already. You know, you do that and there it is there, and we're all set to go. It looks like water, but it's not, it's slightly fluxy. And to be honest, it really is as quick as that. I don't bother about, oh, hang on, give my spit, and you go, oh, it's dried up, hang on, let me just soak that. I haven't got time. So for me, borax, every time. Next question, please, Louise.
Yeah, don't put your eye in jeopardy. Definitely BMX, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
they're things you can't replace, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, Laura is saying, can you give me any advice to help cutting seats level for flush setting stones?
Okay, setting the flush?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're working, make sure you have straight-sided setting burrs. These sort of burrs, I keep drawing these every single time. Straight-sided setting burrs like that, and the sides are going to be nice and straight. What I would do, depends on what you're doing and how you're holding it. If you're... I'll only use it. I've got a ball burr. That's all I'm going to show. I don't have another burr. So what I would be doing, I would have my, for argument's sake, can I put that in there? No, I can't. I'm just trying to think of a way I can actually show you how I can do this. So obviously then I'd have my setting in the end of my clamp. It could be a clamp, it could be whatever method you've got. And I would be looking at it like this, okay? So you can see, and you can see how your Dremel, your flex shaft is going in. If it's going in at an angle like this, your seat is not going to be level. It has to be perpendicular. So if I turn it around this way, okay, so I would always try and make sure that you have your fingers here, you are controlling the depth as well. You can also control it. You don't want to be doing this, and what I would do is that you go in, you burr, and you turn this, and you make sure that at all times the face of your setting that's here is at 90 degrees to the burr. Don't stand it upright and try and do this. It's never really going to work because you can't really see what you're doing. So if it was me, I would always be doing this on the side, and the camera is my eyes, so I can look at this and I can see if I'm going in at 90 degrees. Really hard to do this, to come down on top, because as you're looking, you can't quite see exactly what's going on. But doing it on the side, and then as you bird down, you can turn the setting that you're looking at, whether it's a ring or it's a pendant, and you can ensure that this then is going into the setting at 90 degrees, okay? Then what you want to make sure is that where you've got your tube, yet where you've gone down, you should have a little lip. You should always make sure that that distance, because this is the distance here I'm looking at, okay, is this distance here. So that's A, and this would be A as well. Okay, so this distance here, and what we're looking at is, there we go. This is your burr. You're looking at this distance from here to here. That should be the same, and if it's not, you've gone into a funny angle. If you go down at 90 degrees perpendicular to the surface, this edge that is running along inside the tube should be even. If it's not, if it's running like that, the stone's going to go at a funny angle, and this burr has been put in at a funny angle. If it's at 90 degrees, the ledge that is going around the inside is going to be even all the way around. And you can check that by having a look at the setting and turn the setting around, and that height of the wall should be even all the way around. So just don't come along with the setting with the burr and go zzz in like that, because it's not going to be straight. Turn this round 90 degrees, just go in again, and that will ensure then the seat then should be nice and even all the way around. So that is definitely what I would suggest you do. Never just go in once, turn the setting, go in again, turn the setting, go in again, turn the setting. And if at one stage your drill is at a funny angle this way, as you turn it, it's going to be on the funny angle all the way around, and eventually that wall will be nice and even. But try and get it at 90 degrees into the surface. Next question, please, Louise. Okay.
Patrick is saying, can you use hard charcoal as a makeshift crucible? So I think we did this one the other week, didn't we?
Yeah, I have heard of people using charcoal crucibles. I personally don't feel the need to do it, because the charcoal is going to burn, the charcoal is going to wear away, and you're not going to have a crucible left. If you're stuck, you can grab like a charcoal block and curve and carve a little depression, make a little receptacle in it to melt your metal, to pour. Haven't got a problem with that. You will find though that it will wear away, and usually it's graphite crucibles that you would use, or a ceramic one, and you'd coat that with your flux. So it can be used, but I wouldn't necessarily use it. I think you tend to be quite expensive, and they're going to wear out quite quickly because of the heat involved going at it. So get yourself a little 2-inch, 3-inch ceramic crucible and coat it and line it with your flux. Most definitely. Maybe have a next question, please.
Chaos Ritual is asking, do you know any way I can get 15mm OD sterling tube, 1mm wall, without having to buy half a mile of the stuff?
This is the problem. If it's a standard stock size, you should be able to buy whatever length you want. Some manufacturers have a minimum amount that they cut off. If it is a unusual size and not necessarily held in stock, but then you're gonna have to order the length that they ask for. Perhaps you know other people who would want 15mm outside diameter tubing with 1mm wall thickness. You may have a few people that want that, and you can all club in and share. Or you're going to have to make it yourself, or make up some collets, make up some bezels of that particular dimensions. But I don't know anybody who's got 15mm tubing, to be honest, because that is one hell of a big tubing, isn't it? Or make it yourself. And that's going to be really hard, because you can't really draw it through a draw plate. You don't really have 15mm draw plates, do you? So it's going to be really, really hard to do. I'd say no, you're going to have to buy a long length, or go with some friends and get it cheaper that way. That's what I can suggest. Sorry. Don't know. Anybody else has got 15mm tubing, please say and help out. It's like I'm get my book. Everyone knows what.
Do you want me to? Let me give you another question. I'll run and get your book.
Oh, I think
where's your book?
It's on the computer desk downstairs, beside my bench.
Okay. This is Len, sorry. I'm having trouble keeping a wide ring shank rounded while I align the joint. I seem to always end up in a D shape. It is 18 gauge, 10 mil wide. Suggestions?
18 gauge, what's 18 gauge? I'll turn the microphone off. Okay, 18 gauge, 1.2 mil. So it's 1.2 mil thick. What is the best way? 10 mil wide? I think a lot of times, providing you can get the ends to come together, sometimes I do cheat. Sometimes I will, have I got anything I can just quickly show you? Bam, 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 bam. Dum, 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 dum. In work I'm working on, no. So sometimes what I would do is, if when you're working along and you can't quite get the joins to stay together, I will sometimes pick the ring up and have it so it's upside down. So the ring is here, okay, so there's the ring, here it is here, and there's the join going across that. And sometimes then, when that's up on the top here, and you heat it up, perhaps the join will come undone, and then it just comes apart. So sometimes what I would do then is put the join, pick up the ring, turn the ring upside down, so the join is down here, and I will apply a little bit of pressure on top of the ring. And as you push the ring down, because this now is on your soldering block, okay, as you push down, it's actually pushing the ring together. All right, does that make sense? So, for argument's sake, come on, but do please. Okay, so here's the ring. Okay, so the joint is going to be at the bottom. This is just a little ring. I'm just going to see if I can quickly get this and show you what I mean. So, all right, so the join now is at the bottom of the ring here. So what I would do is come along and I would get the ring and I would push the ring down onto the charcoal block or whatever block I'm using. And as you push down, it's going to squash the join together, and then you should be able to solder it. If you have this joint on the top, the ring is free to open up. You can use a little bit of binding wire to put around it. So there's the joint there. You could get a little bit of binding wire, yeah, to go all the way around it, just to pull it together, just to hold it. You don't want to have the binding wire and pull it so tight that when you heat it up, it sort of buckles up. All you want to do is to have those surfaces to come together and just kiss, okay? Just touch. You don't want to go any further than that. You know what? What? Go on.
Kissing and touching.
It's that time in the evening again. He's talking about hugging and kissing and touching again. You know what happens? You know when you kiss, yeah? You kiss someone's lips. You kiss, yeah? And the lips just touch, yeah? But you know if you're going for a really good snog and you go, and you kiss, the lips go, and you go like that, don't you? That's no good. So the binding wire just has to hold those surfaces so they just gently kiss, all right? And not a deep snog. There we go. All right then.
Oh, another fantastic analogy to add to the catalogue.
To add to the book when that gets published. Be X-rated at this rate. So one more question before I get into my book.
Yeah, go on then.
Go on then.
Giorgio is saying, for beginners, is it more difficult, silver or gold?
It's going to be cheaper to go with silver, absolutely.
But what's easier?
They're both the same.
Yeah.
Gold, you don't have your fire scale, you don't have any oxides, that sort of thing when it comes to overheating. If you look at it that way, I would say gold is the best because you don't have those sort of problems with the fire scale and the oxides, the fire scale and so forth. But it's a lot more expensive to sort of play around with. I would, no problem. So I would, what do they call cut your teeth on silver. And if you get all the techniques involved with silver exactly right, when you go over to gold, it's going to be so much easier. You don't have the fire scale to have to worry about. There we go. Should we look at my book?
Go on then.
It's not a really interesting book. The book, it is a really,
it's a good start,
it is a really interesting book, but it's not an interesting book. It's a book that I'd say it was the second book I ever bought, and I thought, I'm protecting the cover. I took the cover off and I stored that cover, and I just had the bare book, and I couldn't find that cover again just for money or money. Anyway, so this is the book without the cover, and I got some pages in there, but we'll come to that. That's just something that was from our wedding. So obviously you want to know what book it is, and you should all know these books by now. It is Jewellery Concepts and Technology by Oppie Untracht. Pardon?
To make sure it doesn't open.
Yes, so that is my book. It's as simple as that, because this is from H.S. Walsh all those years ago. I bought this 1983, something like that. It's, as I said, it's a boring book to look at. I don't mean that nasty, but look, it's just such a...
You're really selling it.
I am, aren't I? It's such a boring book to look at. For me, I like pictures.
Like the pictures that
I like colourful pictures. It's a lot of words. You've got to be good at your words. Yeah, you can obviously see
Text
this.
is quite small. I'm surprised you can read it.
I had good eyesight back in those days. But it is a book that covers literally everything you really do need to know. We are actually using it just to press some flowers from...
I don't think they pressed very successfully.
from Louise's wedding bouquet. There's some forget-me-nots in there. So we just use this because it's a massive book.
It's the biggest book in there.
It's the biggest book. We've got some lovely plants that we're just pressing, and they really should be coming out. So my book, really, this is just one of the many books that I would suggest. Oppie Untracht, Jewellery Concepts and Technology. It is a reference book like no other. It has every single thing you could possibly imagine. It does have some great pictures. It just goes through. I'm just spinning everything. It just goes through absolutely everything you could possibly.
Concepts and Technology.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what the cover used to look like all those years ago. I've just got it wet now from just spilt my water. So that is the book that I would definitely recommend. I can suggest loads more books, and I've got more books that I was going to bring in, but Louise said no. One book. I had 4 books.
You said
I had 4 books.
It's not version, is it? What
edition?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea what editions they're on now, to be honest. Let me have a look at this here. This is it's a typical first published 1980, reprinted 87. Oh, reprinted in 87. So I must have bought it in 87 then. Yeah. So it was originally copyrighted in 1982, but reprinted in 1987. I expect there are other reprints since then. You can pick it up for about £60 I think, from eBay, from Amazon, and all the other local good bookshops as well. So Oppie Untracht, Jewellery Concepts and Technology, or Jewellery Technology and Concepts, whichever way round it is. Which round is it, Louise?
Jewellery Concepts.
Jewellery Concepts and Technology. Mm-hmm. Brilliant book. You'd be disappointed if you want bright, nice, colourful pictures and the latest tools in it. It doesn't have that. It is a fantastic reference book, and I reference it several times a month if I'm doing a project or want some bit more in-depth information. And it is just one of the many reference books that I do reference. So it's a very good book. Lots of you on here have got it. I know that. It is a very good book. And I spilt my water, and I'm just trying to dry everything up here. So,
is it like a reference book then?
You can't say, oh, I'm on chapter number 3 now. Why are you reading chapters?
It's just for looking up things then.
Yeah, there's just so much. If you want to know all about, say, annealing, you just go to the section that covers annealing. You want to go to the section on twisting wire, casting, cuttlefish casting, for instance. There's a section, casting, methods of giving form to molten metal. It just goes through a lot of
Jewellery
detail.
encyclopedia then, basically, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah. And it
That's
does go into sections. It's got about 4 or 5 pages on cuttlefish casting, goes into lost wax casting. There is just so much information, and as it was 1987, okay, what's that, 40 years? Is it 40 years?
It wasn't 40 years ago, 1987.
No, 37 years, 36 years, 35. Anyway, it's a long time ago.
You do like that book. You never stop wanging on about it.
I'm not sort of wanging on, but it is a good reference book, in addition to lots of other reference books I got. But that is my number 1 book.
I like a book as well that you can just
Look, Louise, it's everywhere.
Oh, you made a mess.
I made a mess, please.
Yeah, books that you can just... What's the book I've been reading? I think that's another one from Walsh. It's a gemstone book. And
gemstone
it goes
testing.
and it goes so far with something and then it just goes, if you've had enough of this and aren't interested in reading this in any more depth, skip to the next chapter. And so often I want to do that. It's just, it's really refreshing. It's like, great, okay, I'll do that.
We'll do that. But there's... As you know, I've done a couple of YouTube films that talk about books, the first books I ever bought, the books I recommend now, knowing what I know now, what books would I buy, but there's lots and lots. Hoppy does use some prohibited chemicals in his books, but they are from the time, exactly, yes, they are 1987, yes Louise.
Would that be reflected in an updated version though?
Most probably.
Or edition, sorry.
I expect it would be, yes.
I saw a question about an order for brushes. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Oh, Kathy ordered brushes last week. Are they on the way? We'll check on that for you.
The Kathy Appiah, I'm not quite sure. Just email me with what your order number is. If you're in the UK, I think all the brushes went out today. I was waiting for Jiffy bags. So I think we posted about 20 orders today for the UK. If you're in Sweden, Germany, Netherlands, USA, they're going out tomorrow.
Amazon have one copy, £70 plus sterling. Investment book. Get it on eBay. It's probably a first edition, isn't it?
No, 82 is the first edition. Oh. Mine's 87, so it's an old one. Right. Metal Techniques for Craftsmen is great too. Yeah, there's lots and lots of different books out there. There's one that's simply called Goldsmithing, that's been translated by Tim McCreet and Charles Luton Brain. That's another brilliant, brilliant book. Don't get me wrong. There are lots and lots of books out there. For me, that is pretty much a go-to. And also the Goldsmithing book by this Berholt.
Can you bring another one next week?
I can bring in loads of them, Louise. I got a little over about 120 books on my shelves. What was my latest book? What book did I buy? I bought the stone setting book by the guy up from Scotland. Can't remember his name. That was my latest book. Do I rate it? I don't know. There's lots of books by Stephen Goldsmith, the polishing book, that's a really good book as well. But there's lots of books coming out all the time, and I buy them all because there's always going to be something within the book I thought, yes, didn't know about that, because everybody picks up John Cogsworth's Creative Stone Setting, yep, Jules Haynes, that is an absolutely brilliant book as well. I totally recommend that book as well. But yeah, lots and lots of books. So, should we have that last question, please, then, Louise, before we finish off?
Okay.
Do you have one?
Yeah, Jacqueline is asking, are you looking forward to all the glitters?
I am looking forward to all the glitters. I think we tried to get into discussions, didn't we, with the producers when it first came out for various things. I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want to be a contestant on it, or whatever you want to call them. That's something that I did not want to be, but we were tried to get into discussions with them about certain things, but they never came back to us. But I am looking forward to it. I know one of the guys that is on it. His name is Sunny. He has a really good Instagram channel. I'm not quite sure what his name is now, but it's Sunny, S-O-N-N-Y, and then something else. He used to be called Rusty, but he used to do some really good hammered. He used to do castings and pour ingots and just hammer torque bangles and hammer rings from ingots. We didn't use a rolling mill, did it all by hand, and now he's doing some fantastic, almost sort of medieval looking 18 carat rings. Gorgeous, gorgeous stones from A.E. Ward. I know they supplied a lot of stones for all that glitters as well. And yes, I am looking forward to it. We're going to try and tie it out. We're going to try and watch it and then tie in some social media posts with it. We're going to use it. We're going to try and use it to our best ability, because I think it's going to be fantastic, because it's going to bring what we do behind closed doors into the open and the public can see. What I'm hoping is that, the repair shop, won't go into the repair shop, another story, but the repair shop the guy did a really good sapphire and diamond ring on the show, and as we were watching it, everyone was cringing, and everyone took Shirley Johnson, thank you very much indeed. My light's not going off. Thank you, Shirley. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Woo, 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 woo. But yeah, the problem is I hope it is a true representation of what we do on the bench. I hope they don't blam it up or make it more daring than what it should be, because
I think there will be an element of sensationalism, won't there? Otherwise,
theatrical.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can expect that, but I
hope it's not going to portray it in a way that, because with the repair shop, that one guy was doing that sapphire and diamond ring, he got slated on Facebook, which I felt was really, really unfair. But under the circumstances, what he was saying was very interesting. But every time he lit a torch, you had to sign a bit of paper and go through all the correct health and safety procedures, because they're working in a barn. And obviously you don't want that going up in flames, otherwise the show's finished.
The limitations that were placed upon him, people didn't really appreciate.
It was absolutely crazy. Can we watch his interview afterwards on the Society of British Jewellery on Facebook? And it was really interesting, the things that he had to do and what he couldn't do. He only had what was available on his desk, so he had to improvise. And it didn't come across, I think, as well as what it should have done, but it was done for the show. But there were some quite unkind things said about him, which I think were particularly unfair.
Absolutely. Because you can't see the full picture, can you?
Yeah, exactly.
When you're just watching a home.
But at least with all the glitters, it's done in the Birmingham Jewellery School. They should have all the equipment there. They got everything there. They got all the suppliers there. So if they need something, they should be able to have it. Yeah. So hopefully it'll be portrayed in a really good light.
I think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to have the universal appeal of like Bake Off. It's being compared to that, isn't it? That's what we saw. I can't remember, one of the publications said they're trying to recreate. And I don't think they're trying to recreate the Bake Off, because
I think it's the same sort of format. You know, the comedian's going to go around and make some quirky gags and all this sort of thing. And I think what they're putting together is really going to be expensive pieces of jewellery. You know, they're saying they're using the Earth's most precious jewels and the gold and whatever. Yes, they are. But I hope they're not going to portray it in a way that it ridicules them.
I don't think it'll ridicule. I don't think it'll ridicule. I think it's got to be a little bit sensational. They've got to make it a bit exciting, haven't they? Because otherwise, if you're not in the industry, if you're not particularly interested, it's not going to pull you in, is it?
No.
They've got to make it
I suppose they do, yes.
So I think you probably should expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be nice. I'm really interested. And I think what everyone who's watching can actually benefit from this, because I'm saying this to you all now, because what you can do, what we are planning on doing, we're trying to get some social media posts together with using things like precious stones, sapphires, rubies, diamonds, that sort of thing. You know, we're getting some shots together of melting down, casting, drilling, filing, and all this sort of stuff that you can do on your bench. Take pictures, have photographs prepared, because as soon as the show comes on and they're going to show people perhaps melting down gold or rolling gold out, filing it, bending it, soldering it. If you've got images of all this happening that you do, you can then bam, 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 social media. You know, you've seen,
did you see this?
Yes.
Did you know I've been doing this for, for donkeys?
And people now will see other people on All That Glitters they get sold, they made a ring. But hang on a second, I can do that, and here's my social media post. If you think that's good, wait till you see what I can do. And I think we need to capitalise upon this and use it as a launch pad of getting people interested in what we do, because everything that what we do is behind closed doors. And if you're like me, what we do it every day, and it becomes repetition. It doesn't become very interesting to us. But for Louise, who's only just really sort of come into the trade, she's going, oh my gosh, you could do this, you got this, that's fantastic. You can do the sentimental value on people's jewellery, how it's going to look when it finishes, take some lovely progress shots and all this sort of thing. So she's sort of building up that interest in what we do, and that comes across in the post that she puts on social media. So by using this All That Glitters and having things ready, I've no idea what they're going to be doing.
It's so exciting for the industry, isn't it? Because it's going to educate, not in a patronising way, but it's going to educate the public in what we do, what's possible, you know, what's available to them, really. Yeah. And that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get all this ready, so when the programme comes out, we can go,
bam, get all your posts ready.
Here's all your social media posts straight away. Yes. Who's talking about solder paste? No, only paste soldier can be used in a D-ring. Ooh, well, that's what's on about solder. I'm going to ignore solder paste.
We've had a froth-free hour.
Ish.
Well, they expect they will.
Yes,
have a
All That
Facebook
Glitters
page.
does have a Facebook page. Yes, it does already.
Does
but,
it?
Yeah, but there's nothing on there saying about the about dates yet.
I think it will be really good. What was that? We were watching something, I think I mentioned it before, that programme. It was one of the really, really high-end stores in London.
Yes.
And she was designing this gorgeous necklace, and
Yes.
it had, I can't even remember what was in it, but it was very much, she was the glamorous
Yeah.
side of the operation. She was the designer, and then she literally just
Aspreys.
scuttled off. That was it. She
Aspreys.
scuttled off to the furthest end of the,
Yeah.
you know, into the basement practically, and he was in there saying what he could and couldn't
Yeah.
do with the design, and then it was like, right, well, I need it next week then. I don't know, it was just all very... And at the end, he came out in his apron and he stood and looked at it in the window, and it was beautiful, and he just didn't even... I said to you, didn't I?
It portrayed
My heart broke
it
through.
portrayed the craftsman
Yeah.
as not very bright, didn't it? It came
It
across.
didn't come across... Yeah, it was as
It
if he was
wasn't-
just... He's the most... Obviously, the design is skilled, but...
The craftsman is the more skilled person, putting someone's ideas
Well, I wouldn't
together.
like to say one person's more skilled than the other, but it was just very much... Well, you just put it together, and it was just...
Yeah, but
it
he
didn't
actually melted,
get
drawn the
across
wire
what he
down,
did,
made
and-
every setting, put it all
Yeah.
together. Then the girl came along and set every single stone in it.
Yeah.
But they were just glanced.
It was
Oh,
just...
no.
Yeah.
And it was all her.
It was just when he was looking at it in the window at the end, as if... Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
And she was just going, I'm so stressed and it's not going to be finished. And it's like, who's under the
Like the
pressure?
poor
It was
bugger
just...
who's on the bench having to work at the... Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, should we have one last
Yeah.
question then, please, Louise, before we finish for today?
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, it was... Yeah. But so it'll be good because it will show people like all of you.
Yes.
You
In
know,
a good
you
light.
appreciate what you do and what you can do.
Yeah.
You just fell on the floor. That was my mic. No, we're not going to have this on.
I don't know.
Nobody noticed.
Have you turned it off?
No.
Is it on?
Am I on? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sadaf is saying bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Bonjour, comment allez-vous?
Can you show me or explain which part of the flame I should use to make a good solder? I use an orca and have a lot of trouble adjusting the flame for a solder.
Yes. Do you pickle after every time you anneal? Not necessarily. When you're making an ingot, you don't have to anneal after every single time. Although sometimes I do pickle and perhaps remove some of the surface so it doesn't get rolled into the ingot. Okay, so the flame. There's lots of discussions on flames, okay? Right, so there's lots of discussions, okay? You can solder using the outer end of the flame, okay? So this is the light blue, medium blue, and this is perhaps the bushy, slightly oxidizing flame. No, you know what I mean. So this is the slightly yellow bit here, okay? You can use that. How can I get this for you to see? Let's try and zoom in, shall we? Okay, so this studio's a little bit on the bright side. You can't really see what is happening, okay, with this. So people say always the hottest point is this point by there, okay? That is the tip of the hottest part of the flame. It is not necessarily the best part of the flame to solder with. If you come down here, this is hot, as you can see, it's burning my brush. So you can use this part of the flame to solder. If you're soldering a large area, don't try and heat up that large area with this tip here. It's going to take you so long. You need a nice broad flame. If you want to get in and out quick, like the lady who was doing the melting down of the claws after she'd soldered them, you use the hottest, brightest part of the flame. That is the hottest, and that will get hot really quickly if it's a small area. So if you're trying to solder a ring, if you don't have anything else on the ring, just use a nice bushy flame down here. It's going to be okay. So it doesn't matter the part. If you want to get the job done really quick, come in with a slightly hotter flame. I think I've done a YouTube film, hot is not necessarily the best. And all the time I keep telling you, this is the hottest part of the flame here. It is the hottest part. Is it the best part to use? Not necessarily. I would always use this part of the flame here, the slightly more bushy. You're going to get more even. Because don't forget, if you're soldering a ring, here's your ring joint across here, you're using the hottest part of the flame on here, the heat is going to be dissipating. The heat is going to be drawn here naturally. But if you use this bushy part of the flame here, the bushy part's going to be all over here, and it's going to heat up the whole area easier, a broader, what am I trying to explain here? A small heat is localized. This is going to overheat by the time the heat gets across here. So this area is going to get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And when this area gets to the right temperature, this could have overheated because you're using the hottest part of the flame. Use the broader side of the flame. You're going to heat up more of the joint. You're going to get an even coverage of heat, which is what you need for soldering. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So if you've got an orca, use the broadest part of the flame. It's going to get an even heat. And don't forget, solder loves to melt when the metal is the right temperature. So don't rely upon that hottest part of the flame to heat up the metal or the solder. Use the broadest part and you should get a better, more even, consistent solder joint. Because if you use that really, really hot part of the flame, there's a chance you could boil the solder and you'll ruin the properties of the solder and it won't solder, or you may get pits within the solder. So don't overheat the solder joint. Yes, Louise.
Yep. I just noticed a couple of questions about setting up rolling mills. Audrey's. Oh, bother! It's jumped. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Audrey is setting up her new Durston Agile C110. Is there a proper way to figure out the correct height to mount it? So there was another question about mine. I'm not sure if it was Audrey again.
I did see, yeah, there's another one about what is the correct height.
Yes.
Now, really, that height depends upon you. Now, I get frothy. You know I get frothy. And I think the position of a rolling mill is really important when it comes. Woo, woo, thank you, Dina. Thank you, Dina. Thank you. My light's not going, though. What am I to do? There we go. Hey, there we go.
C'est la saying merci.
Merci.
Parlez français?
Merci. Okay, so what am I doing?
You were me, aren't you?
Parlez-vous français? Non. No.
You just did.
Parlez-vous français? So my argument, okay, is that if you're going to put a rolling mill on a bench, try and put it on the end of a bench. Let me try and turn around. What camera should I try and turn around? I'll try and turn this one round, which is number 2. Hopefully your microphone won't fall off. So I would always try and put a rolling mill on the end. Okay, so this is my bench. This is a bench here that we've got, you know, polishing motor on. We've got, this is a lead that's hanging down, get the way. There we go. Yeah. So that's just that. So this is great. This is on the end, okay? So when you're working, you can roll this way and you can put in all your effort into the mill. Okay? What I see a lot of people is putting let me just see if I can move things out the way here a bit. I'm just going to be confined. What I see is people having, I'll just have another rolling mill just by the side of me. So this is
multiplying.
This is another rolling, and I see a lot of people mount rolling mills this way. And I really think and have it on this end of the bench, and I feel that is really, really counter-intuitive because you're trying to roll. Let me come back onto this camera. On this camera, you're trying to roll like this. And I think that really is bad. You should be on the side and rolling and doing this. And by having it mounted on the bench and you're having to do this, I think is awful. I think that is the wrong way because you're putting so much strain and you can't put an awful lot of nice even effort into it. And especially when you run like this, you've got to try and come around the bench like this and try and put it in like this and then try and do this. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit.
I'm going to set that to music later.
So,
yeah, this is Michael, it does, doesn't it?
What's that? All right. So this is what I don't like to see. We can this stay here. Have the mill on the edge of it, and you got to do this. What? I don't, why? Why? Yeah? Because then you got to try and put things in and you got to look like this and you go, oh, put it in, and then you go, just the whole thing's going to fall off. Okay? I don't like that.
But when I do this on the few occasions I've used the one downstairs, I always end up
This is...
hitting myself with it, don't I?
What's this all about? Put it on the side, so then you attack it. You can't even do it on this, because you can't. So try and put it on the end, all right? Okay. Let's put this out the way. Ah, dear. Just a spare mill I have handy. Such is life. So
It's nothing to show off, is there?
No. Height-wise, whatever height you are, that bench over there is 38 inches. Never have it too low.
So we use, as a rule of thumb then, hip height, would you say?
I'd say, yeah. So
yours is...
So that bench over here is this sort of height. What? It's a hip height.
Hip height, that's what I said, yeah.
Hip height, yeah. Okay, so I find that is great. It's the right height. Have it too low and you'll be bending over doing this. So don't put it on a normal sort of desk that you write. I do remove it. You get the general gist of the idea. Have it at a reasonable height.
Life. Somebody please do it, make it happen for me, please.
It's a hard frost life. Or get yourself, just something that we have just lying around. Have yourself like a Durston or a stand like that there that has a little cupboard in it.
Yeah, but
and they are the right height.
They're the right height for one type of person though, because like that's...
Yeah, the right
and
height.
I'm tall.
That's the right height for you. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
people's heights vary quite a lot.
Don't have it on a desk that you write, it's too low. Have it on a reasonable height so you can attack it. And if you can do this, roll it, and if you happen to get it stuck, at least you can push and put the force into it. I'm sure there's people now are going to replay this, copy that and put that to some music.
I really hope that they do.
I hope they do, because that would be absolutely amazing if they do it. So if you want to make a nice animated GIF of me doing...
Tom is 6'5" and that's too short. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hip height. Yeah, so hip height, yeah, we've gone into this now in a lot more detail than perhaps we should have, but yeah.
If you have the DR4 or the DR2, I think it is, with Durson, they have a dual height. So the lower one may be the right height, but the one that's higher is going to be up here, so that's a bit more awkward as well. So it's entirely upon to you, but don't have it too low. Have it on the end of the bench so you can just roll it in this direction as opposed to that direction. You get the general gist of the idea.
What's Devo music?
Band, a group band. Back in the 80s?
Oh.
I think they do like those sort of funny dance, animated thing, dancey sort of things. As far as I can remember, I'm just making up as I go along now. Yes, you need a booster mill. Will it be on next week? No, Easter Monday next week.
Easter Monday, yeah. Perhaps we'll go the Tuesday?
Yeah, we'll go the Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we're going to do. So here endeth our question and answer for the 29th. Next week is going to be Easter Monday here in the UK, so we're going to have it on Tuesday with flower pots on the heads. Yeah.
I need to see what this is now.
Louise is going to have a look at Devo now.
I probably know their songs. Do I know what songs do they sing that's... They're not 80s, are they?
Are they 80s?
American New Wave band.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They don't look like they're from the 80s.
Are they from the 80s?
Like they look a bit like an emo band.
There we go. All right.
Anyway.
So next week we're going to be on Tuesday. Don't forget, it's Tuesday 4 p.m. British summer time. If your clocks in your country haven't gone forwards yet, it's going to be the hour earlier. 80s, yeah. BMX, yeah. I suppose I had something right today.
Devo, same day grocery delivery. I
don't think that's the showing our age again. Yes. Amco, yes, thank you. Yes, Marion, yes, she's ever so young.
I should know. I should know that I should.
But you weren't into that. You were into punk at the time, Lou.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. So we're going to go now. Devo was out in late 70s, early 80s. I was in high school. Yeah, very informative.
I was born 78.
Yeah, thank you, Jana. Need a cup of tea? I need a cup of tea as well. You're quite right. We'll have that.
I'm going to go home and listen to Devo.
Really, we're going to go home and Spotify. We're going to go on. We're going to go, hey Siri, play Devo on Spotify. See Depeche Mode.
I like Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode. You spin me around.
Now playing Devo on Spotify.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to listen to that when we get home.
That. Okay, yes. Educate me.
So, thank you all for joining us today. Do appreciate it. Sorry it was a little bit late coming on. Sorry we had a bit of a chat beforehand. But Camera Plus 2, really good app. Get yourself an 18% grade card to ensure your pictures are nice and even every single time. Louise, do you want to add anything to what we've said so far?
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your lovely company and for being so active in the chat.
Yes.
And for supporting everybody.
Yes.
With your lovely comments and advice.
Yes. It is good, isn't it? 111 people. Do appreciate it. And I know there's lots of people on who are watching who don't participate in the chat. So thank you also very much as well if you're just watching. But if you want to come on the chat and just have a chat, please do. It's a great little community we've got going on here, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks to everybody who's watching, not just
not
just the chatters, but yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
It's just I can see the chatters, and like if you're not, I know you're there, not necessarily chatting, but thanks to you too.
It would be nice. Come on,
Yeah.
come on, say hello. Come on, say hello if you're just hanging in the background. Be lovely to see you. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go home now.
Okay.
It's going to be nice. It's going to be a lovely day tomorrow. Don't forget, Louise, stop the click and collects a bit early tomorrow.
Turn my heater off in there. I was all cooking that office.
Right.
Can I have a proper radiator, please?
No. Next week, you go. What? What's the matter with it?
It's insane. I've never heard of anything like it in my life.
All right.
It like collects the heat in the night.
Yeah.
Because that's when the
Electric is cheaper.
The tariff is cheaper.
Yeah.
And then lets it out during the day whether I need it or not.
Yes.
What is that?
And if you run out of heat, and if the bricks are cold, you can't keep adding on to it. That's it. That's the end.
That's just insane.
It is insane. It's antiquated. That's this building for you.
I can't get my head around it. I really can't get my head around it at all.
We will see you Tuesday. Next Tuesday, which is what day is next Tuesday, Louise?
Oh, golly.
Hang
What
on.
are we? It's the 29th tomorrow. No, it's 29th today.
What day is next Tuesday? 6th. 6th of April?
6th of April.
Join us on the 6th of April, Tuesday, 4 p.m. for our next question and
Claire's had
answer.
a bad reaction to the AstraZeneca. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I had a nasty reaction
You
to
were
the
poorly, weren't
AstraZeneca.
you?
I had almost like a fever for a couple of nights. I was just terrible. So yeah,
But it was
I
still
do
worth having.
apologise.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
sorry,
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
sorry
It
that
only-
you've been poorly. But
Only
yeah.
lasted a couple of days. That's all. A couple of evenings really. I'm fine now.
Lynn, we had those in the schoolhouse I lived in the 60s.
What?
Those blooming radiators.
All right, it was not that.
Yeah, all high tech here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speedy recovery, Claire. Absolutely.
Yeah, feel better soon, Claire.
Take care. We will see you. Don't eat too many Easter eggs now. Isn't that right?
You're looking at me for?
I'm now just looking at the back. Someone's alerted from the back. Someone bunny's at the back camera. At the back. Right. Enjoy Easter. Enjoy your break. We will see you Tuesday, the 6th of April, for another question and answer. Take care. Don't forget, post on social. We'd love to see what you're doing. Let us know what you're doing. Thank you all very much who have donated this afternoon. Thank you so much indeed. Really do appreciate it.
As you suspected, Louise milking it. Yeah. Told you, didn't I say?
Oh.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Happy Easter, everybody. Enjoy your Easter eggs. Enjoy whatever you're having. Don't eat too much chocolate.
Eat too much chocolate. Easter's
Yeah.
only once a year.
Yeah, whatever. I'm still going through my chocolate I had for my birthday.
That's you though.
I know. Take care. We will see you next Tuesday. Don't forget, it's Tuesday. Not Monday, Tuesday.
We'll remind you anyway on social.
Yes. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely week. See you next week. Ta-da.